Hi, I'm Cecil Mills, and this is the world's largest pollution-free engine research laboratory here in Converse, Louisiana. We get it by default because General Motors doesn't have one, Ford doesn't have one, Nissan, Toyota, and Honda don't have one. The government doesn't have one. But somebody needs to have a pollution-free engine research laboratory, and somehow it got to be me. So it's not that hard, really. If you really wanted to invent a pollution-free engine, you'd go, well, what pollution-free fuel can I use? And it turns out there's a couple that you can make from water that are pollution-free. There's hydrogen, which everybody knows about, and hydrogen peroxide, which hardly anybody's ever heard about, even though it's powered the world's fastest cars. Kitty O'Neill set the world drag racing record, quarter-mile acceleration record, back in 1977. And that record still stands today. She was driving a hydrogen peroxide rocket car called the Pollution Packer. So, once I found out about that, it really didn't start to be pollution-free engines. We start out, if you can make this stuff out of water, gee, that's got to be cheaper than oil. That's what we thought. And we thought, if you do this cheaper than gasoline, well, and there's no doubt the price of gasoline over the long run, it goes up and down, but every day there's less oil and more people want it, and supply and demand tells you that sooner or later the price is going to go, and we're already having wars over petroleum. You know all this stuff somehow. You know this. So we started looking into hydrogen peroxide, and the next thing we figured out, well, gee, this is pollution free, and a few little things you can do to the engine to make the engine be pollution free too. So plus more efficient. You tailor the engine design to the characteristics of the fuel. So I started this channel. I see people don't know about it right now. I've been trying to go speak at UC Berkeley. You'd think they claim to be the world's leading university, but they're not teaching about the cleanest fuel there is, even though 50,000 Americans die from breathing air every year, largely from, it's from breathing petroleum residue from cars and industrial, whatever is petroleum or coal or whatever kind of fossil fuel we're burning is putting carbon in the air and polluting our air, and the CO2, and it reduces the amount of oxygen in the air. So I tell all these things. I tell you how much carbon's in a gallon of gas and how many gallons of gas we use, how many people are dying, where you can check, and I also kind of try to document some of my research materials. And to back this up, the government is using hydrogen peroxide every day, but for some reason, the government's keeping this a secret from the rest of us. And I don't understand that, even though the people that make it for the government say they do it with complete safety. So I guess that means 100%. So gasoline's not 100% safe. It's killing probably millions of people. Since I started finding out about the mortality rates from air quality in 1995, the EPA said then 17,000 Americans a year were dying from breathing air, and now it's up to over 50,000 people. That's 1,000 people a week from breathing air, something that you can't help doing. It's not an elective, like smoking cigarettes or something like that. So, we all breathe the same air, and we all should be equally concerned, even though we get a lot of propaganda. And, I like making fun of the conspiracy people, Alex Jones and Gary Franchi and, Redacted Tonight, Jimmy Dore, RT. They kind of act straight, but they really are undermining our democracy. And, we have freedom of speech, so we let them. But we should also be looking at these people and laughing. If you've seen Alex Jones, I say in one of my videos, gee, I didn't think you could get LSD anymore. And Alex Jones, you know, he has got this great brain uh, product that you could tell it's not working, and by looking at him, you know. So, but anyway, I was kind of surprised my last video, Russia Rising. Somebody asked me, would I talk about global warming? So that's one of the things I talked about, and I think about my fourth or fifth video, and the sound was bad. It's hard to read, hard to hear, but you can read it with the captions. So basically, I have a different theory of global warming than Al Gore or any, you know, and I say that. I pick on Al Gore just like I pick on Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton or Bill Clinton. You know, they all act environmental. They're going to look so environmental. Remind me, I'm going to make a video about my visit to the Sierra Club, where they're more worried about getting donations and getting money than anything environmental, you know. And the governor of California, I got to meet him while he was he's not worried about environmental stuff and doing the simplest thing about it, and I'll tell that in that video. But somebody asked me in the other video, would I talk about global warming, on account of maybe they've seen my other videos about global warming, and I have a completely different idea than Al Gore or the science that exists today, where there's some dark particle of carbon in the atmosphere that's absorbing up heat and causing the sun to heat up the planet because of the retention of heat from these dark particles. That's not it at all. What oil is a byproduct of plants and animals and photosynthesis from millions of years ago, that they're dissolved or degraded or melted away to be HC, which is a hydrocarbon, which is what we call petroleum. And what that really represents is, even though it's sunk down in the earth, what I think of as God's sewer, you know, he's cleaning the planet by getting rid of this stuff and taking it down into the planet where it's not on the surface to poison us and cause us harm. And if you've ever seen oil in the raw state, it's nasty stuff, you know. So God's cleaning the planet. That's how the system works. And what it really is stored solar energy. If you've ever seen a plant, if it doesn't get any light, it doesn't grow. But if it gets plenty sun, it shoots up like a rocket. So, okay, we can see that plants store solar energy through photosynthesis. So this energy's been stored down there for millions of years, and now we bring it up and burn it. Well, I don't want to tell you how many BTUs exactly are in a gallon of gas, but it's over 100,000 BTUs per gallon. And we burn 1.2 billion gallons of gasoline every day worldwide. So you can Google how many BTUs are in a gallon of gas. I don't trust their figures, or maybe I don't understand exactly what those figures mean. But there's no doubt that there's BTUs of stored energy in gasoline, and we are adding that to the surface temperature and the solar energy that hits the planet. So that's in addition to the solar energy that's hitting the planet. And no wonder we're heating the planet up. And but I also think saying there's some dark particle in the atmosphere doesn't give you any way of projecting how much of it we're doing or anything like that. But at least if you know how many BTUs are in a gallon of gasoline, and how many BTUs we use, and how many days we do it, or years we do that for, centuries, whatever, you can calculate how many BTUs we've added to the surface of the planet. It was stored, it was uncombusted, so it wasn't, you know, it's hot down inside the planet here. So it didn't matter, and maybe that's what fuels the fire down in, I don't know. But that's where oil comes from, about 5 miles down these days, because we've sucked up all the oil closer to the ground. But now our government is so involved, not just Donald Trump, but every president, most of our senators, most of our congressmen are bribed off by oil companies and gas companies. So when I tell you that the cleanest fuel there is on the terrorist list, it just seems to me, and the government's using it because it's a real useful fuel, but they don't want us to know about it. You can see why I want to go to Berkeley and talk about this, where people need to hear this. We're never going to get there unless we try a little harder. So I'm just hitting on a lot of subjects here, but I hope you'll keep watching my channel. I know sometimes I'm stupid. Sometimes I'm just making fun of the conspiracy people to get people's attention. I see Alex Jones got millions of followers, you know, and Gary Franchi and whoever. They're all just drooling over there for Alex Jones to come back on some other channel. I just saw him all ago on some other American Patriot, you know, the complete idiot. I think there's a song, American Idiot, you know, Green Day or something. And so you understand my theory of global warming is based on real simple facts here, and is quantifiable. We can calculate how much we're going to raise the temperature if we knew how much volume and weight. And it's just not that, it's that I grew up as a tune-up mechanic. I know how much oxygen we're taking out of the air. When you take and burn gasoline, you take about 20 pounds of oxygen out of the air for every gallon of gasoline and convert it to CO2. Well, that's what you call a greenhouse gas, but humans can't breathe it. We can't exist by breathing CO2. That's what Dr. Kevorkian used to dispatch his patients. So I hope you'll keep watching. I can't tell all these things in a single video, and sometimes I tell the same thing over, but I figure the people haven't seen that video yet. I don't think I'm going to go viral, but I hope it'll start a conversation somehow of what we need to. Let's hear it. What's wrong with hearing what's true, and why are we keeping this a secret? I'm telling you, I think check with your congressman. I bet he's been paid off by oil companies, or a whole bunch of campaign contribution money to almost every congressman and every senator. Bernie Sanders got kind of famous by getting up on stage and saying he was the only one there that wasn't taking corporate money from oil companies. So that's what's wrecking the planet. We're never gonna, these car pollution controls you have on your car, you think they do something? You need to watch my video, Debbie and the Cat Cons, because what we're doing with cars costs plenty of money, but it does not change a bit of the toxic gas coming out of that car. By and large, I mean, you know, in some minute amount it might, but not that it makes any difference. You know, we're not going to get there by lying. We need to come to the truth and say, why aren't we using the cleanest fuel? What's wrong with using the cleanest fuel? I refute anybody. I'll debate anybody. You know, I know people that have driven their cars to a land speed record and perfectly safely, 600 miles an hour. You know, and over 600, and they didn't think anything about it. There were people that used to. I have friends that used to run their car on nitromethane. I can tell you, it's a lot safer than nitromethane. Hydrogen peroxide is non-flammable. So, thanks for watching. I hope this will go viral, but I doubt it. So, okay, thanks for watching, and I'm glad somebody commented. I hope people will comment on my videos and give me some ideas of what to say and what you want to hear. And I hope I explained clearly about, it's so simple, about the global warming thing. You know, I mean, But that's not worries me. What worries me is people dying from breathing air has tripled in the last 20, 25 years. I believe that's a lot more urgent, even though it's, without a doubt, we're changing the climate. I see that being old. You know, I remember what it used to be like, but I think pollution is a lot more urgent than climate change. But neither one is good, and I hope you'll keep watching, and I hope you'll figure out by looking at my videos what I'm trying to do. I'm just the most ordinary person here, but somebody needs to say something, and I thank you for watching. So, for once, my dog's been good, so I had to make this a couple times. Okay, thank you.